What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction, back with some more Kate Bush. And we're going back to the 1985 album Hounds of Love, as well as a very sleepy kitten here. And yeah, the next tune on Hounds of Love, 1985, is called The Big Sky. It feels like perhaps a reference to the way, the sky is in one sense a frontier. Obviously, there are a lot of cultural and religious ideas about the sky, so it could be seen in a sort of metaphysical or spiritual sense. There's a lot of, configurations of the phrase that are used to indicate potentially an eventual metaphysical destination for the departed. It could just be about the immensity of a sky, especially if you're in a more rural and less industrially lit environment, thus seeing more of the stars and so on under that big sky and not having it drowned out by excessive light and skyscrapers and so on. So yeah, I feel like it could be more visual, it could be more conceptual. Knowing Kate, it'll probably be both of those things, as well as some crazy narrative that will have all sorts of twists and turns. So yeah, ultimately, I don't pretend to have a sense of what the song might be about, but obviously that phrase, it is poetic, it is again visual, it just immediately suggests a type of visual tapestry, or I was going to say tableau, and then that felt pretentious, but then saying tapestry perhaps felt even more pretentious. Either way, yeah, it's an interesting phrase that gets my brain working, even if I'm not quite sure what to expect, and probably, wouldn't be able to predict things given the nature of her songwriting in any case. But yeah, let's get it. This is Kate Bush. The tune is The Big Sky, and it's from the 1985 album Hounds of Love.
They look down and look around, missing that I'm never going down. I'm looking at the big sky. I'm looking at the big sky. No, I'm looking at the big sky. You never understood me. Never really tried. That cloud, it looks like island. Come on, no, kiss that.
That backing vocal is like a tribal chant or something.
Quick, 'cause it's changing in the big sky. It's changing in the big sky. No, we're looking at the big sky. You never understood me.
I love the way she sings.
Never really tried. This cloud says no.
This track is like a comet burning through the sky. There's so much happening sonically. is that like there's just like this. I apologize, Kate. But the point I was going to make is that there's so many interesting sonics in that one, and there was some crazy guitar work. It has this constantly energetic and marching type of feel to the percussion. There was a moment where I was trying to figure out if there was like this really rapid synth bass or whether it was actually keys, like the low end of the keyboard played very rapidly. So lots of interesting sonics going on through the whole tune, and yet it literally could have been an a cappella of all those voices, and that alone would have been an amazing track. Like all the layers of the vocals, the tribal chanting, the more choral sounding backing vocals, the cacophony where there was a part of the track where it felt like, when you're in a huge room and there's lots of people talking and you can hear pretty much all of them, but you can't really make out anything that they're saying because it's just this constant din of voices. It felt like there was that in the background for a while, but the lead, she's just doing these crazy things. And then by the end, there's like essentially like a backing vocal where she's doing some incredible, high flourishes and so on, right up to the very end of the track. So again, like the sonics themselves were fascinating and were worthy of, detailed discussion. And yet you could take all those out and it still would be an amazing vocal tune. So the way her vocals are layered in some of these tracks, especially like I would say on the last album and the beginning of this one, is absolutely incredible. So that is becoming something that I'm noticing in some of her tracks, where the way her vocals are sort of all over the place and doing different things. It really just creates this incredible vocal texture. And again, very different voice, but there are eurythmic songs where Annie Lennox's voice is, sort of multiplied and doing different things at the same time. And there are moments where I'm thinking of some of those tracks, but it's getting to the point now where there's enough of Kate's tunes that I've heard like this that, I'm thinking more insularly. Nevertheless, silly adverbs aside, it was a really great tune. This album has started fantastically, and ultimately, just the creativity of her music is something that continues to stand out. It's, she's obviously not someone who was primarily concerned, with commercial approachability or accessibility. It's someone who was pursuing an artistic vision come what may. Now, I understand that certainly her stuff in the 80s was very popular and successful, but ultimately, and I think the stuff at the late 70s too. But the point is, like, it just goes to show that if you pursue an artistic vision, if you have something meaningful, or many things meaningful and compelling to say, then ultimately, you can go in your own direction and people will still follow. Definitely an amazing track. Do let me know what you think of this one. And at this point, I apologize, Luca. I've been delaying a little bit, but I do have to pick you up. Let me know what you think. I will see you next time.